Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I'm Allison Troy. Today we are doing a color pencil test on this Kalor set of 36. So these are kind of cool. This is actually a new set that I've bought within the last few weeks, which I've actually not been buying sets because about a year and a half ago, I went through a phase where I bought a lot of sets to try out. Then we moved and I didn't get around to trying them, and I've been trying to work my way through them. And, you know, I don't need that many pencils. However, I saw these on TikTok shop. Yes, TikTok, it is what it is. I normally don't buy anything from TikTok shop, but these were kind of cool. I spent maybe, I think $15. I think it was $15 on TikTok. So it wasn't a significant amount of money, but they were cool and I wanted to try them. And the reason they're cool, I'll open them up and show you. And I wanted to try them because like I said, I thought they were cool. They're not typical color pencils like I would normally use. So they just were unique, and I thought they would be fun to try out if I can get them open. Oh, okay. Foiled by packaging. This is why I don't do unboxing videos. There we go. All right. So what's cool about these is these are mechanical pencils, color pencils, but mechanical. They have this. They come with a specific pencil sharpener. You can't really necessarily sharpen these the same way you would, you know, like a Prismacolor. You know. So I just thought they were really cool. They only have 36 colors. It's a pretty limited set. And, you know, if you watch the channel, you know, part of the reason I try all these sets is I'm always looking for all the colors, trying to find more unique stuff. And obviously there's not going to be a ton of unique colors here. With 36, it's going to be a pretty basic set. Probably fairly limiting, which, you know, will kind of probably annoy me, but they were just kind of cool, and I wanted to try them out. I wanted to try something different, so let's do it. Also, I am recovering from a cold, so I apologize for any extra sniffles or any coughing that may have occurred. Try to get it out in editing, but if I miss any, that's the reality of it. Anyway, we are going to do some swatching, and I will do that in time lapse. So we are going to switch to time lapse now. Well, in a second. I'm going to do a page in the Supervillains coloring book, and then some Strawberry Shortcake and a Barbie page, just to see how it works. So anyway, now we'll get to the time lapse. And we are back. All right, I got these all swatched. These don't have color names on them, but it does have a number. So I just made up some numbers. I just made up some names. That made sense to me. For the most part, it's names sort of like what you would find with Prismacolor, just because that's at this point how my brain works. I look at color pencils through the lens of Prisma. I will say for 36 pencils, I do feel like there's a pretty good color range here. The blues and the greens are pretty good. Would have liked a darker red and maybe one more orange in there. As always, there's not a cream color in this set, which I've just gotten used to. Anytime it's less than, say, 72, I'm just not expecting a cream color. Which is unfortunate. I think sort of like an off-white eggshell, something like that, is pretty helpful in coloring. Anyway, we're going to try this now. I've picked out a couple pages. Okay, lemon meringue is done. I was able to use blue and white to create an effect for the spaces where the white is on her socks and her collar. Normally that's where I would use the cream pencil, but I made do, and it works. I was able to get some shading done. They don't, as far as like the skin tone, I wasn't able to get as good of a blend with the orange tones. But the pink did all right with this peachy color. So blending wise, not as good. I don't feel like I got a subtle blend in some of these places where I used orange, but I do like the blend. And I think for something like this, which is a cartoony type page, I think for the cartoony look, it's fine. And it worked pretty well on this particular paper, which wasn't a big surprise because this is printed on the same paper my swatch chart is. So I kind of had an idea going into this one how this would work. So anyway, so far so good. And I did, during this one, sharpen a few times, and it's pretty cool how it sharpens. I think the novelty of it alone was pretty cool. So I do enjoy that. All right, on to the next one. All right, so here's Raspberry Tart. Few issues here with blending. Normally she has a pattern on her sleeve, but a lot of these old coloring books obviously don't include the pattern, or if they do, it's just black line. So I often will draw it in. I had to go back over with this darker purple color because the pink did sort of, at the point of coloring over it, it did sort of not blend, it just sort of washed it out a little bit. So there are some blending issues with these pencils. The blend I got up here was a lot more subtle, and it was really, I used a lot of pressure right here. And I used a lot of pressure right here so that the various colors would stay. Again, this was, I paid less than $20 for this box of pencils. So for that, these are actually performing pretty well. Again, the blending isn't necessarily the best. Some of that is the paper this is printed on. This paper here is not the best choice for it. But that's okay. That's why I do these tests, to figure out which papers work best and which ones don't. The one Lemon Meringue was printed on worked much better. So anyway, let's try the next one. And it's done. These pencils did not work as well on this paper. It's a little patchy in places, as you can see. And that's okay. I mean, I prefer usually a smoother cover, but it still looks fine. And again, it's a limitation of this particular paper. Just when I use these in the future, won't print what I'm going to color on this page. Otherwise, mostly okay. I did run into issues with the skin tone. This is Dana, and although it's just her hand inside of her face, Dana is Asian, and there weren't really enough colors, in my opinion, to get a proper Asian skin tone for her. I did play around with the orange and some gold. It worked all right, not well. Obviously, with just orange and pink and the peach, I was able to get a Caucasian skin tone. I consider that a pretty big obstacle to a pencil set being useful, is the skin tones you can get. I do have a Kalor set that I haven't tried yet, that is specifically skin tones. It's not these mechanical pencils. So that might be a case where these work really well with that skin tone set. The only thing I will say about that is so far what's been fun about using these pencils is not having to really sharpen them, except, a little bit in here. What I kind of like about these is sort of the container. It's hard plastic. It's much more casual as far as coloring so far, and I'm really digging that. A lot of times with Prismacolors, I get out all the sets. Feels like a production sometime, whereas I really like how so far with using these, it feels very casual, very easy. I feel like I probably won't use these a lot for doing videos, but I feel like when I'm just coloring to color, I'll probably be using these quite a bit more. That could change after I do the next page, because that is going to be on in an actual printed coloring book that I bought for adult coloring. So if they work well with that paper, these will probably be my go-to, like keep it next to the bed, keep it in the living room for when I'm just chilling out and want to color while listening to something on TV or listening to music or just having a chill day. Anyway, that's that. I'll see you in the next sequence in a few seconds. And now for the final page. I felt like it went really well with the book. It did get a little streaky for me in places with the background. I think some of that is the type of paper that they use for these books. But also some of it is just, I'm a little heavy-handed. So if I did lighter layers, it would have been fine. So that's just me, that's just end user, me getting impatient, wanting to try these out. Yeah, I have fun using these. These are not obviously artist grade, at all, but I do like the plastic case. I do like the convenience of them. So while I probably won't do a lot of videos using these, I'm actually going to keep these sort of in my bedroom, or sometimes the living room when I color in there, but usually it's in bed. Before I go to bed, I'll color stuff. So this will be sort of like the next to the bed set. So all the little shavings from the pages I did, so it's pretty good. That's all of them. I haven't emptied it yet, so that's all of the waste from these from 4 pages, so that's pretty good. Obviously, with the Prismacolor or any pencil that has to be sharpened, there's a lot more waste. So yeah, if you're looking to do artist grade pages, obviously this is not the set for that. If you just are looking for a fun set to use, something that travels pretty easily, I would say this would be a good set. So yeah, I'll have a link. They're on Amazon and it's less than $20 on there. Like mentioned, I got it through TikTok Shop. First thing I've ever bought on TikTok for like 15 bucks. But yeah, so I'll have a link through my affiliate code if you're interested in picking these up. Again, these are not artist grade pencils, but they were really fun to use. So sometimes you just need pencils to be fun, and you just need to enjoy your time coloring, especially with adult coloring, because so much of it is really supposed to be for stress relief. So I found these very unstressful to use. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like. If you want to see more pencil test videos and you have not subscribed, definitely do so. I try to do at least one a month, and I will be doing more until I work through the ridiculous stack of pencil sets I have acquired over the last few years. Like I said, I'm not trying to buy any more until I get through them and try them all out. This was just, these look too cool for me to pass them up. And here we are. So anyway, thank you again for watching. I will see you again in the next one.